G'day, I'm Mark from Self Sufficient Me, and before I put those kitchen scraps into that chicken composting ring, I thought I might take you through a little look-see at how it's going 3 months on. So let's get into it. So you can see they're all eager to be the first one to get the spoils from the scraps that I put in here. They're actually being trained now to work in this compost ring. It didn't take long at all. They were trained right from the first time I started using it. In fact, before I even put scraps in it, they were just curious to see why I made this raised bit of area. But that's chickens for you, very curious as cats. And it's like an open source compost, if you know what I mean. It's not entirely perfect, but it's damn good, and it's working kind of the way I expected it would. For those of you who aren't familiar with this, a lot of this is actually coffee cups, melted down and processed, reused to make this plastic sheeting, and I've just screwed it together in the form of a circle. Very strong, should last forever, and it's a good height at about a foot or so, 40 centimeters. So it's a height good enough for the chickens to get in, and when they do scratch, they're not chucking it out. It's high enough so that it won't fall out and they can keep turning it over. I've got compost piles up there that work like standard composting piles. You turn it over in the different bays and the compost slowly gets made. But this is made primarily through the chickens constantly turning it. And not all of it gets turned into compost. A lot of it gets used as chicken food. They pick through all this kitchen scraps. And it's interesting because I was a little hesitant to start off with, because a lot of these kitchen scraps aren't meant for chickens. They're like tea bags and other things that chickens just wouldn't eat. Sort of waste and kitchen waste that chickens aren't interested in usually. But that's okay. It's been working really well. They seem to pick through the things that they don't want, and at the same time they're digging under and aerating all those things that they don't eat. They're getting a feed. It's saving me on food, and they're eating surprisingly quite a lot as it breaks down. So I don't care how those scraps are utilised at all, as long as it's either utilised or turned into compost. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, no, you're not thinking, Mark, who cut your hair? Or why are you sweating so much? Well, I'm looking right into the sun and it's a hot day. We're in the middle of summer here. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, it's all well and good. This is out in the open. They turn it over and they're making the compost and they're eating what they want to eat. But how about the wild animals? And that's a good point, a very good point. It attracts those types of animals. You know, could attract anything. Possums, rats, wild birds, for instance. You could do two things. You could leave it like this, like I've done, or you could locate this in your chicken pen to keep it away from those types of other animals, which would be fine as well. I chose to keep this out of my chicken pen. My chicken pen is not big enough, I don't think, to have a compost ring, and it's just easy for us to come down here and just chug it straight there without dirtying up the pen any more than it needs to be, or smelling up the pen. And honestly, I don't mind if the odd bird or crow or animal or even rodent gets in there and eats their fill. I've seen no problems with it. In other countries, there might be bears or raccoons or things that you don't want around, I get it. But I'm just saying here, it's not a problem. And this is located in an area that has an electric fence around the perimeter, which stops any larger type animal getting in, like dogs. So yeah, I understand this type of chicken ring compost maker might not be the right thing for everyone, but it seems to be working quite well for us here at the moment. And now I'm going to bring you in closer and give you a look at the change in the soil and the actual compost itself. Okay, you can see I'm right in the middle of it, and I don't mind that. It's not stinky or yucky. I mean, it might be in a few minutes when I throw all the slops in there, and it'll remain like that for a few days as they pick through it and dig it through and all that. But I'll show you what I do when I do pour that in there in a second. But at the moment, we haven't had kitchen scraps put in here for, say, about a week, and they've had plenty of time to chew through it and turn it over and all that. And you can see, first of all, it is made up of some larger sticks. That's just from the trees falling down, and leaves. These leaves aren't great. This area is pine trees and eucalyptus, and they don't break down the best, which is adding to this experiment. I love it because I didn't want it to be easy. I wanted to see if I could turn really crap soil and extra dry stuff that's added to the wet mix that I throw in here from the kitchen and from plants or whatever. And I wanted to see if that combined down and if I could turn those really bland ingredients, you might say, into something that could go easily into the garden and add extra nutrients to a garden bed and help me grow lots of good veg. I'll just dig down randomly in the middle here. First thing I can feel is the moisture. Now, it's pretty dry around here at the moment. If I just go outside of this bed, it's dust. It's this grey, loamy, just no quality at all type of soil. Sandy, yucky stuff. When I put the scraps in here, I will put a covering. I'll just get the shovel because this whole area is just sort of, grass and bare dirt and rubbish land. And I'll get the shovel and I'll cover up a lot of the scraps with this rubbish soil and the eucalyptus leaves and that type of thing. And the scraps, as it breaks down, is providing moisture in there, and it's turning into a nice coloured, smells good, smells like compost, smells nice, and good garden soil. I can see, you can sift this stuff, of course, if you didn't want the large stuff through it. You could sift it out with a sifter and make whatever you want, make a potting mix or make a seed raising mix, or I prefer to chuck it in. Maybe I'd get rid of a lot of the big sticks, perhaps not. And if I'm just going to plant regular veggies in a garden bed, I'll throw this stuff in there like that, because you've got also, as the chickens are in there, they're pooping in it. And the other main ingredient that I've been putting in here is the poop from around the drinkers and the feeders. You get a fair build-up of poop, especially from the ducks around them, and you've got to clean that out of the pen occasionally. And also you'll get mulch and dirty mulch and poop around the nesting boxes where they perch. And that adds to the nutrient balance and mix of this product here, making it a fertilizer compost. Better than none, better than anything, the best you can get. I could use it now, but I'm just going to see how high I can go. Maybe see if I can half fill this. Get about 20 centimetres or so up this ring. Just see how much we can create out of it. Maybe give it another 3 months or so. It really is a good way to use up the compost. You can see the different things here that haven't broken down yet. Maybe will never break down until it goes into the garden. That's a mango seed. You've got bits of egg, you've got corn, cobs, and bits of onion peel and peanuts that are in here that haven't broken down quite yet. That would probably break down easier if you had it piled all on and just let it heat up like a standard compost pile. This is just a different way of doing it, and I really like it. I think it's working for me. It's easy, and I'm digging it. I'm actually really digging it. Hang on, I have just found a worm. They're everywhere, aren't they? Even in this pile. So you're flat out finding worms around here because it's so dry, it's just not the right spot. This one's a little bit worse for wear. However, obviously there still are worms in here, even though the hens are digging through it. So there you go, worms still attracted to it. Yeah, well, all right, what I'll do now is I'll put those kitchen scraps in here. I'll show you what I mean, what I actually do. Throw them in here, cover them up, and yeah, we'll wrap it up there. This can be anything. Like typically they wouldn't eat limes. but it's going in there. Rice and anything, really, absolutely anything. I'll wash that out. The ducks do get a bit excited, but unfortunately that's their problem. And yeah, you can see it. I'm not breaking anything down. They're big oranges and stuff, and apples, things that didn't get used. I will usually wash out the containers. This probably doesn't hurt to have add a bit of moisture in here as well. Not a bad idea. They have to be washed out anyway, so I might as well put the juices in here. I don't normally put meats in here, but there might be a little bit of meat, like bacon and stuff, in the old rice, or a bit of ham or something, but I don't normally throw meat out. So that's one exception, like bits of chops or bits of chicken or something like that. I don't normally put out there, bones and stuff. While I'm here, I will give it a bit of a wet. And then what I'll do is I'll just scrape up some of the surrounding leaves and loose dirt and just sprinkle it on top. Not a lot, just a bit here and there. And that just adds to the fill, and it also combines those wets. I might even chop these oranges up, might be easier, and that just helps these wets balance out. The dries help balance out the wets, put it that way. I think we'll add a little bit more soil and leaves, more dry matter. And this, like I said, is what I typically do every time. And let's hope they turn this rubbish soil into lovely, beautiful, nutritious compost. So that is the chicken composting ring 3 months on. I think it's doing really well. I reckon it's going to be a success. I'm pretty happy, as you can see, by how it's going. So fingers crossed it continues to do that, it continues to go well, and I can turn our kitchen scraps and our rubbish eucalyptus leaves and pine cone needles and rubbish loamy soil down the back here that would otherwise be no good for anything into beautiful garden soil, fertile garden soil that I can use up in our veggie garden. Plus at the same time give the chickens something to do and save on chicken feed. Well, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big composting thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, of course. And thanks for watching. Bye for now. Whew. Tell you what, even though the sun's going down, it's hot. That's summer for you in the subtropics, isn't it? Lovely. Yeah, good stuff. Happy with that. Cheers.